Broadcasting to you from the heart of North Minnesota, you are listening to the best music-oriented podcast on all YouTube, in my opinion. This is the Roger Radio Show. I am Roger Radio.
And I'm Aegis on Levity of the Enchantment Group.
Where is it?
Right here, brother.
Cheers. And cheers also to this brand new beautiful setup that I have here. Got a brand new monitor, so I actually look a lot more, you can see a whole lot of me more in my opinion, but anyways, here you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, today's podcast is going to be a very unique one, because we are doing our first ever legit EP review. And for all of you who are wondering, EP means extended play. It's just like I think of it as a mini album, you know, if it's like an album of only like...
That's exactly what it is.
5 or 6 songs or whatever, you know, that kind of thing. Which I believe, yes, is close to the edge, would have been if they didn't make the songs on that album so goddamn long. So before we get into it, the question of the podcast, and I can't remember if we even discussed this or whatnot, but I'm just going to do it anyway. The question of the podcast is, who do you think is the most underappreciated or most underrated band ever?
The Deer Hunter, which this episode is about. Their new EP.
First Aid Kit for me.
Yep.
All right. So that being said, now that you brought that up, do you want to tell everybody what the EP is going to be about, or what today's EP review will be?
So the EP is called North American EP by the Deer Hunter. It has 5 tracks on it. It's from they did this documentary. It's called it was a documentary on their 2023 North American tour. And the songs all come from that documentary. I'm pretty sure they were originally all instrumental tracks. Then they added lyrics to them and vocals with the release of this EP.
Yeah. So these songs, though, they were not released or ever before, right? Like, where did they make these while they were on tour?
Yeah.
Okay, so they pretty much kind of did what Pink Floyd did with Dark Side of the Moon. They were perfecting their music or whatever along the way while they were touring for, which was supposed to be promoting metal, but it was more promoting Dark Side of the Moon, so that's why I asked. And this was it's almost like, for some reason, like they had this one album that came out in 2022, but it felt like it wasn't really much about that, but it was more like what we ended up hearing on the CP, right?
Yeah.
That's very unique and interesting, man. Yeah,
because usually with the Deer Hunter, they release concept albums or rock operas that are all like part of like, well, they have one big storyline called the Acts.
Yeah.
And then in 2022 they released Antimi, which is the beginning of another series of rock operas, which is called the Indigo Child.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like the first album for the Indigo Child series, right?
Yep, Antimi was, yeah. This one has nothing to do with either of those, but it does have like a lot of themes about dreams and stardom.
No, the Indigo Child story itself?
No, this EP is.
Okay. Now, I've listened to this EP a couple times, and there is some pretty good songs that are on here, you know, and it's tough for me to say what ones I like the most, but I think I might have a good idea for one, which we will get to once we get to the end of this episode. But right before we do that, let's just get right into it, huh? As you can see, folks, I'm wearing something that looks very nostalgic and psychedelic-like, because that's what this album cover reminds me of. It's like, has those nice complementary colors, you know? It's like a can of beans. I thought it was like fucking alphabet SpaghettiOs or whatever the fuck it
The
is, you know?
alphabet soup.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it couldn't. Well, I don't know if it'd be soup. It doesn't look like broth that's in chicken noodle soup or all that. It looks more like the sauce, tomato sauce they use in like ramen spaghetti.
Oh yeah, yeah, I get you. Yeah.
But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, all I can tell you right now is there is not a whole lot of information that we could find about this EP. Like I even went onto the Deer Hunters Wikipedia page hoping to click on the link to the North American EP because it's listed in their discography, but there's no link. You can't click on it.
Yep.
So, not
There
a whole
isn't
lot
even a
of
link for
information is
Antimi
there.
yet on there.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's not a whole lot of information about it. So, I'm going to trust my wingman right here, who himself is a huge diehard Deer Hunter fan, to guide us along the way here.
Hmm.
All right, so shall we get into the songs?
Yes. And one of the things about the Deer Hunter that I love with their lyricism
Yeah.
is that, like with a novice lyricist, you read the lyrics and you immediately understand what it means.
Oh,
But
okay.
with like an expert lyricist, which I like to consider myself one too, you read the
Yeah.
lyrics and it makes you think because it's so abstract and it's like that's interesting. I got to think about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
It's
know
not
what you mean.
immediately obvious what the song's about just by reading the lyrics. You got to analyze
Yeah, I know what you mean, man. Um, so that being said, folks, we're gonna get right into it, and this obviously we're gonna open obviously with the probably the appropriate track to start with for the CP, and it's called Magic Beans.
it. I love this song.
I don't know what it is, but the whole song reminds me of another one, but I can't remember why. But I'll tell you, the one thing that really got my attention was the opening of this song. I think they got inspired by the Alan Parsons Project song The Raven from Tales of Mystery and Imagination for this opener.
Yeah. I thought you'd like that opening song too, just because of
Yeah,
that beginning of it, you know.
yeah. Now
All
I'm
right, so it
trying.
goes.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
go
I was
ahead.
gonna say I know that for the sound here, the song like it sound like obviously got to be a synthesizer on it because that's what I kept hearing in my opinion
Hmm.
is the synthesizer. Alrighty, Aegis, go ahead and take us away with the lyrics.
All right. Adrift and resigned through the passage of time that was easy to wind. If this was designed, there seems no reason for such struggling.
Um, Adrift and
Would that
Resigned. Um,
that make like specifically that phrase, uh, if this was designed, there seems no reason for such struggling. Like I'm obviously a Christian, you know,
yeah,
but this is kind of an atheist statement, whereas like if there's a God, then why is there struggling?
I
You know what
think
I mean?
for I think for that honestly, and I'm no, don't want to try and get too religious. Well,
Yeah.
I do have a cross here after all, but I think it's kind of a way for us to I think feel the pain that Jesus Christ went through to pay for our sins. When
Hmm.
he had the Last Supper, and then there was like the trial and all the just the brutal whippings that he took, and then being crucified. It almost feels like it's kind of like we could feel his pain kind of thing. That way it would help us become better people in my interpretation.
Hmm.
And that's my dad. He didn't go to church a whole lot throughout it when he was alive, but he was a huge believer in God and Jesus Christ and all that.
Yeah.
And my dad, I even have a copy of his Bible that he read every day. It's like hiding. It was either on my bookshelf or I put it in my time capsule. But I would see him reading that like every single day, man. So I think he definitely does feel the pain
Yeah.
for
All right. Then
what
it
I mean.
goes. Yeah. Then it goes. We all keep stumbling on. In spite of all that ails us, we keep prevailing. So despite all the bad things in life, of everything, of your hardships and everything, you keep pushing through.
Yeah,
Even if the darkness doesn't call for the dawn, when tragedy's aligning, you gotta keep on shining.
Oh, now that one, when tragedy's aligning, you gotta keep on shining. It's like in the event, like if you had a family member or a close friend of yours who died, just like I did, and I had to go endure a whole lot of that, and I had to keep pushing on, man. I think that's the interpretation that I'm getting from that.
Yeah, what I'm curious about is the line, even if the darkness doesn't call for a dawn. It's an interesting line, or stanzas, I'd call it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I actually don't know.
It's what I love about the lyrics of this album. They're very abstract.
They really are, yeah.
Feels like a lifetime of towing the line. So what will you grow now from these magic beans?
I don't know. So, what will you grow now from these magic beans? Doesn't it almost remind you of the story Jack and the Beanstalk?
It's definitely what it's a reference to. Definitely. There's no doubt about it.
God, dude, I cannot get enough of that fucking story, man.
It's a good story. No, but
Not to mention, they made fun of it on Family Guy too. That was probably the funniest part right there.
no, so feels like a lifetime of towing the line. So what that means to me is like you have these dreams and all your life you're just like barely like on the edge of making it and not making it, you know? And then so what will you grow now from these magic beans? The magic beans I take is like your artistic ability and what you produce.
Yeah,
And it's like
there's
with your abilities, what will you grow from what you can do?
exactly just like with what we're doing for our YouTube stuff, what you're doing with your music stuff, and what I'm doing with my
Yep.
radio stuff. I could see that
Prepare because you might find the stocks stampeding to the sky,
for the
lifting you
sky,
higher
man.
than ever you dreamt that you could be.
You
So
dreamt
it's
that
another reference to Jack and the Beanstalk, of course.
lifting you higher than ever. You dreamt what you could be.
So yeah, like what that means to me is like you always dreams like you'd go this far, but then with these magic beans you planted, you just shoot farther than you ever thought you could ever go.
Dude, with my radio career, that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me, man. And I'm like one of their most popular radio DJs. And obviously,
hmm
my podcast, I have been getting a lot of good feedback from this podcast that we're doing, and even some of the videos that we've been working on, man. Like, it's doing, like, things are great, you know?
Yeah. And then it repeats, we all keep stumbling on, in spite of all that ails us, we keep prevailing, even if the darkness doesn't call for the dawn. When tragedy is aligning, you gotta keep on shining.
Shine on. Yep. Now, before we go on to the next song, have you watched the music video?
I have a couple times, and it seemed like it was definitely kind of a reference to the tour they were going on when they
Yeah,
made the music.
that's what it started with. Is the music video started with the it showed the credit, and it's like one of the, one of them old movie credits that they used to do at the beginning of old movies back in the day. The Deer Hunter
hmm
presents Magic Beans, and it was from their 2023 North American tour that they were doing. It starts with I think it was Casey Crescenzo, the lead singer, who
Yep, that's him.
was there. He was standing there. He looks like a homeless person because of all that facial hair. Almost looked like Charles Manson, if you ask me, and that creeped me the hell out. And sitting like right next to him? A can of those fucking magic beans that are on the album cover.
Yeah, and
And
there's like
all
when
of
you
a
think
sudden,
magic beans, you think just like simple beans, but this is like a can of like baked beans, but they're
yeah,
magic beans.
yeah, here's the thing. He puts it up to his head like he's talking on a cell phone, and on the other side of that phone call or whatever, or if they were hearing each other, it's almost like it was one of the other guys on the band. He was wearing what looked like a safari hat, like he got off of an
Hmm.
African safari, and they don't talk. You don't hear them talk. it's like they're talking silently, you know, like in silent movies, and underneath
Hmm.
said okay, like uh-huh, uh-huh. And then it cuts to a clip of them doing one of their live shows that they were doing while they were on their tour. And all of a sudden, all of them were just sitting around. And I think Crescenzo, I think, was giving him ideas or something for what he wanted to do for music, but they all like unanimously reject him or something like that. The funny thing is that the thumbnail that I saw when I was about to play the music video on YouTube, I they had a facial expression where it's like I thought they were getting high off the beans. Didn't it look like that they were eating them or taking some
Yeah,
fucking psychedelic trip?
yeah, I can see what you mean. Hmm.
Yeah. So, and then all of a sudden, in the middle of the song, it ends up cutting to what looks like a fucking newscast. And there's like, and it has like talking noodles who are named Doug Wilhunt, Jennifer Pigeon P, and Maud Middle Nikki.
Yeah, one of them looks like a fucking thing of chapstick.
Which one?
Shit, I gotta pull it up.
Jeez,
Oh,
no
fuck it.
wonder where the hell you get ideas for the fucking names of your music that we're making for your channel. Holy
Uh-huh.
shit.
Yeah,
We might.
they got magic beans, Shlammin Salmon.
Bossing
Right.
Bass.
Yeah, next.
You should just make a music tune and we'll call it Bossing Bass. But hang on. So to continue on though, all of a sudden um it ends up cutting to a scene of Crescenzo showing something to another member of their band. And it looked like virtual reality that's literally in front of them, kind of thing, like where he's doing this, doing that, and it looked like a war or something like that between two
Hmm.
guys doing a duel, a magical duel kind of thing. And then as the music video keeps progressing, Crescenzo ends up acting like the oh, he ran away. Ladies and gentlemen, subscribe to the channel and let me know what you like. Meanwhile, if there's any single ladies out there, I'm single, so no appointment necessary. Up, cheese at
I
the
had to grab
cops are
another
back.
beer.
Yep, cheese at the cops are back.
Hmm.
But okay, so Crescenzo's behavior for some reason, it almost looked like it was changing to, Jack Nicholson from The Shining, right?
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah, I
thought
love
he
that
was
movie.
starting to act like that, and he scares off one of the other guys. He had that face that was like, "I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your fucking brains in," with that creepy ass smile, dude. Like, it's almost like So a little off topic. There was a movie that I was watching that was about the Beach Boys and Charles Manson. There was like a cameo where Dennis Wilson was going back to his house right after the Manson murders happened, and there was Charles Manson with his eyes glaring open and saying, "You can't leave," and that's what Crescenzo's eyes looked like when he was looking, scaring off one of his other members of the band. And then for some reason, the other guy who he scares off ends up running it out of the bus into the parking lot and just
It
blows
blows up.
up out of nowhere. Like, what? And all of a sudden, he just looks at him and he looks so disappointed, like, oh. And then he says, and I quote, apparently, do die?
Yep, that's what it said. Apparently do die.
Yeah. And then it cuts to a final clip of him with the last magic bean, and he doesn't even eat it. It just cuts away. And then it just shows, like, for the rest of the music video, a little white bean just floating there. Like, I assume it was going to be their outro or whatever. Or, YouTube videos always do, like, outros. I assume that it was either that was supposed to be part of the music video or that was supposed to be, like, the music outro part for the video. And that's it. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the only music video that was made for this album.
And honestly, I think it was a pretty cool music video. It was very weird, but I love weird. If you know me, I love weird shit.
Yeah. Well, even then, you said it yourself, like with the Deer Hunter, their stuff has been kind of is like in a weird, good kind of way thing.
Oh yeah,
But you know what that tells me? The weirder you are, the funner you are.
exactly. I agree with you
Why do
100%.
you think everyone likes me? I mean, look at me. But on the other hand, I'm not. I'm more than just weird. I'm Keith Moon weird.
I'm Frank Zappa weird.
Right? But here's the thing, though. You're Frank Zappa weird, dude, but you almost fucking look like Charles Manson in your ID photo. I mean, I
Yeah, I
don't know,
really do.
dude. Even then, yeah, like I was the first one to say it, dude. I even if I was able to get a copy of that photo ID, not the whole ID itself, but just the picture, I could like make a fake newscast being like, Charles Manson is back from the dead, motherfuckers. Look out for him. He's now wearing a top hat, so you can't tell if he's either fucking Slash from Guns N' Roses or Jack the Ripper still alive. Yep, Jack the Ripper was a vampire, so he's still alive, but like Bella Kiss, motherfuckers. So one more quick note. I actually can't remember if I said this, but some reason the overall sound of the song, the music itself, some reason it reminds me of a Tom Petty song that I listened to, but I cannot for the life of me remember the name of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, maybe if I find the Tom Petty song, I'll let you know about it. So,
Okay.
alrighty. So next up, we got four amigos, not three amigos, four amigos. It's not
Probably
the
a reference to
it's not the
probably a
movie
reference to the
Three
movie Three
Amigos.
Amigos
Just
is
imagine if
Four
they
Amigos.
just imagine if they made a fucking Three Amigos sequel, but it's just four amigos.
Hmm.
But yeah, what can I say about this? It was pretty hard. It was a hard rock sounding,
Hmm.
but I don't know what it was. I was just like, meh, not really. I'm not really a fan of this song.
I liked it.
I couldn't really get into it, honestly. Shit, I'm getting the hiccups now.
All right, so yeah, it goes little linguistics befall this spirit swarms in search of song. Wild battlegrounds of syntax, stacked detractors, planting seeds that both sides could be wrong.
Um, I have absolutely no idea what the fuck any of that meant, honestly. Planting seeds that both sides could be wrong. Some reason it almost feels like if you ended up hooking up with two different women for some reason. I don't know why.
To me, I know that feels like a political statement to me. It's like neither Republican or Democrat is correct. They're both wrong, you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I interpret it personally.
That's okay, so there's we were talking about this on my birthday podcast, G Money and I was bringing up the fact about First Take. What they have their main host Stephen A. Smith, and he is very politically outspoken when he's not doing sports commentary stuff, and he made it clear that he's a registered independent and that he does not agree with both Democrats and Republicans because both of them have their pros and both of them have their cons. And I'm not I'm just going to leave it at that. So, but I see where you're coming from with this here. That is kind of the same with
Yeah.
me. Like I could see both rights and both wrongs on both sides of the parties.
In that line, little linguistics befall this spirit swarms in search of song. That kind of hits hard to me. It's like writer's block, you know?
Yeah.
Little linguistics, so not a lot of you're having writer's block. You can't think of good things to write
Yeah.
because you're in search of song. You're trying to write new music, you know, but you can't think of anything. That's how I
Yeah.
kind of interpret that line personally.
Oh yeah. That's the I was gonna say like when you're doing writer's block when you're having writer's block, could it be for like one song or could it be like for a whole album?
It can be both ways. You can be working on an album, you just can't figure out what to write next for the album.
That yeah,
Sometimes it can just be like one song.
that's what I was wondering because I know that I told you this story many times because I am a huge Who fan. And so in 1971, The Who ended up releasing what I believe is their magnum opus, Who's Next? But they took 8 of their best songs, from what was supposed to be their rock opera follow-up Lifehouse, and Pete Townsend ended up suffering a nervous breakdown because he was kind of dealing with it. It was like kind of writer's block, mainly because he was trying to help the other band members understand the story is where he struggled the most. And that's when he just abandoned the hell out of it. Just be like, all right, we're going to take this song, and this song, and blah, 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 and put it on what would eventually become Who's Next. Here's the one thing. The one, like that writer's block part, the one thing that surprises me is that Roger Waters never dealt with that.
All the best artists have troubles with writer's block. If whether it's just for a few days to a couple years, all
Yeah.
artists struggle with writer's block at some point or another.
Yeah. Or actually, yeah, you're right, dude. I do actually take that back, actually, because Roger Waters really did not flourish as a one of the best songwriters of all time until Dark Side of the Moon. Right before then, it
Hmm.
was Sid Barrett, their original member, who wrote the lyrics, but then all of his personal issues that he had eventually led to him leaving the band, and Pink Floyd struggled for a few years to try and find their identity. So,
Right, and then the song goes on, and so etched are their ways within their bones, hard to perceive but changing, steadfast and standing in the way, daylight could never penetrate.
you know what? Etched are their ways within their bones. I think for what
That sounds like destiny to me.
yeah, from what that's what I'm gonna say is that from what I was saying with that dude, it's yeah, you make your own destiny or you are destined to do whatever kind of
That's
thing.
what I'm thinking. You were born destined to do what you are going to do.
That here's the one thing like with me, dude, and I'm just going off topic a little bit. Well, right before I started my radio stuff, it never occurred to me. It never really crossed my mind to even do a good radio DJing. I had 2 other goals that I really wanted to do. First, I wanted to become a movie actor or a television actor, you know? And I was actually due to go to
Yeah.
Central Lakes College in Brainerd for theater to give me that jump start and to even possibly go to the University of Minnesota to do theater where several notable names in the film industry went. But there was one problem with Central Lakes. You know what that problem was?
What?
They did not have on-campus housing.
Ooh.
So I would have had to been forced to live in an apartment to pay rent. And that would have conflicted with sports because I was planning to do sports at Central Lakes. And then, like, the sports thing ended up happening when I went to ICC here in our hometown of Grand Rapids. And then I went to Mesabi Range. And then I went to Bemidji State University. But I ended up having a very ugly divorce with the athletic staff there. And I was due to have a summer internship with the Duluth Huskies, who are like one of them summer league, AAA leagues for college players. But when I was supposed to do my internship was when we had COVID-19. So that ended up going down the toilet. And my sports career I knew was over. Then I spent the last year and a half between the pandemic and when my radio career started, just wondering what the hell am I going to do now? Or mellowing around trying to figure out what could happen. And next thing you know, this happened out of nowhere. And I have not looked back on it ever since.
All right. And then the song goes up. Just when I thought I could conceive a bridge between, is that smoke in the air and heat below my feet.
Let me ask you this about that now. Do you think that's a interpretation to burning bridges with someone?
That could be, actually. It's a fair point.
Because God knows I've burnt a lot of bridges with a lot of people, man. And you know what? That part hits me the hardest. And like I said, even
Yes.
though I couldn't get into the song, that lyric actually hit me the hardest.
Yeah,
Because
because
I'm
like
now looking back like, how many bridges have I burned in my lifetime? Way too fucking many. And I'm still doing that. Unfortunately.
that's one of the things I like about their lyrical style is just like me. You read it and you kind of interpret it how you interpret it, you know? What you
Yeah.
interpret it as doesn't necessarily isn't the way it was intended to be interpreted, but that is your interpretation of it.
Yeah.
Like especially for like my song I wrote called Flip Flop. It was very it has some very complex lyricism and if I showed that to you, you'd probably be like, what the fuck does this even mean? You know?
Right?
All right. Anyway, it goes on. You've deceived the arsonist in me. So misguided. I don't know how you've seen it, but I know.
It almost yeah, going back to the bridge burning part, I could see a little bit of that with you've deceived the arsonist in me, but it's almost like you want to burn a bridge and you want to hurt the person while you're doing it.
Yeah.
But with me, dude, when it came to me burning my bridges, I had my reasons. I did not do it with malice intent. I had my reasons to do it.
Hmm.
So misguided, I don't know how you see that. I think it's almost like when it comes to severing ties with whoever, the misguided part, it's almost like you don't realize it until it's too late, kind of thing.
Yeah.
God damn, dude, these lyrics are hitting me a little bit hard, man.
Right. And then it goes, man, it's so hard to get a read sometimes on how to tell who you're gonna believe. But it shouldn't be up to you how, shit. But it shouldn't be up to you to have to read so fine between the lines to uncover some ideal reality.
Dude, misinformation.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, dude. And we have been dealing with a lot of that fucking stupid bullshit for God knows how long. And it's
Yeah, it's
because of
like,
the fucking children that are in the White House right now. And it's
yeah,
been
like it's
going
hard to
on
get a
for
read sometime
5
on who you're gonna
fucking
believe.
years.
Like you hear what both sides are saying, but it's hard to tell which one's correct.
Yeah, exactly. Like I
But it
said,
shouldn't
dude, the
be up to
fucking
you.
misinformation thing, it's been going on for too fucking long and it needs to
Yes.
fucking stop.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be up to you to have to read so fine. You shouldn't be having to like look so in depth at this,
Yeah,
between lines just to discover some ideal reality. Shouldn't have to search so deep to find what is right.
exactly, yeah. That's why the only news outlets or the only news outlet that I check for my news, National Public Radio, NPR. And they're on
Yeah.
the verge of losing their funding right now because of the fucking stupid child. The fucking taco. You're just like, okay.
I I forgot that we're calling him a taco now. My bad. I was like, what fucking taco? And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, shit, dude, you can't be forgetting all this stuff, man. That's why you need me. That's why you need me.
I know, but the thing is, if you go places, you got to bring me with you. If I go places, I got to bring you with me.
Exactly. That's the point, dude.
Yep.
That's the point. Heck,
One of
dude,
these days, we got to make a blood pact. Like cut your hand open.
Oh, trust me, you don't what? You don't want to do that with me, dude. I've
I don't
fooled
want to get
around with a
AIDS.
lot of girls that like a badass, and God knows what is going on right now. I'm just kidding, by the way, people, but you know what I mean, right? I can't help it
Yeah.
if I look this good, man. I mean, fuck. And meanwhile, you got your stuff going on with your lady friend, so.
Hmm.
But all right, let's continue on with this song.
All right. Yeah. Age after age, we decay or atrophy into shapes we had sworn to supersede, drag the anchor until it tears itself apart, or sink the whole damn ship, trying to steer it in the dark.
Okay, for some reason that just reminded me of did you know that they are making a Titanic escape simulator game?
No, I didn't want to know that.
Unfortunately, that's the reality. That just triggered it for me, and I'm like, what in the living fuck? Drag
Yeah,
the
so
anchor
HF,
until it tells itself apart or sink the whole damn ship. Iceberg. Psh.
yeah, so age after age, we decay or atrophy into shapes we had sworn to supersede. So that kind of brings me to this song I wrote called Flip Flop. It's like you have become something like with your beliefs that you were sworn against in your previous life, you know?
Yeah,
Like you used to believe one thing and now you believe another. That is very contradictory to what you used to believe.
exactly.
And then drag the anchor until it tears itself apart, or sink the whole damn ship trying to steer it in the dark. That's a tough one. Hmm.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, and then it goes to the chorus again. Oh no, man, it's hard to get a read sometimes on how to tell who you're gonna believe, but it shouldn't be up to you to read between the lines just to keep your sanity.
Yep, like I said, going back to the misinformation bullshit,
Yep.
and who you're gonna believe, that kind of thing. So,
So take it slow, man, because we're really running out of time. Age after age, we decay or atrophy into shapes we had sworn to supersede. Yeah, then it repeats that, and then that's it.
alrighty. Yeah, like I said, lyrics are pretty good, but some reason with the music, I really just couldn't get into it, man.
I, I thought that song was actually pretty good personally. It wasn't my favorite. We'll talk about which ones are our favorites at the end.
Yeah, because I think
All right,
I
and
I
before
think I have like a two-way tie so far, but we'll get to that when we can.
All right,
Let me
before we
just.
start this song, I gotta use the bathroom. I'll be right back.
All right, you go ahead. I'm not gonna. We're not gonna do any intermissions. Just do whatever. All right, so yeah, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, pretty much at this point, we're gonna also start considering including EPs as well for when we do our album reviews. And no, obviously, what better EP review to start with than his favorite from his favorite band? I don't really listen to a whole lot of EPs often. Like I have no reason to do so. EPs, as far as I'm concerned, they're almost like a pilot. If you're making a pilot episode for like a TV show, it's almost like what an EP is for me. It could be like a small minor EP that could eventually be. It's kind of like a demo for the next full studio album, is how I see it.
I don't usually listen to a lot of EPs either, but when it's the Deer Hunter, I take every scrap of music that they throw at me.
I did not even know what an EP was until I heard the Foo Fighters' EP Saint Cecilia, which was supposed to be a charity EP to help victims of, like, it was either a mass shooting or a bombing that happened a year prior.
The first EP I ever listened to was David Bowie's EP No Plan. It was released a year after his death,
Yeah.
and it had three new songs on it, and they were really fucking good.
Were they
Had No Plan, Killing a Little Time, and When I Met You.
were they supposed to have initially be part of the Black Star album and then got scrapped or pretty much cut?
I think that's it. They were recorded at the same time of the Black Star recordings.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Okay, so next song that we're gonna go to is Shlammin Salmon. Now, what I wrote down from my notes is the beginning of the song sounds like synthesizers that are really harmonized together. You know, like when you get like
Yeah.
like a group of vocalists doing some harmonized singing and whatnot. That's what I was hearing with the
Okay.
synthesizer for some reason. Um, around the after the 1 minute mark, they ended. If some reason, it almost felt like they did a mood change, and it reminds me some reason like the mood change part. If it reminded me of the mood change that was on the Who's song "Cousin Kevin" from their rock opera Tommy, and then they ended up changing the tune again, but it almost sounded like they shifted from like whatever musical sound to another, like on Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody and Radiohead's Paranoid Android.
So the song goes downstream from the colossal current, redeemed only by struggling through it.
Redeemed
So it's like
only
you're
by
going against
struggling
the,
through it.
yeah, you're going against the current, and you only reach redemption, you reach your goal by struggling against this current.
Yeah. Um.
And then it says, so hard to ascend when overextended. What I interpret that as, it's hard to reach your goals when you're shooting to the stars.
Yeah.
You have to start with like smaller goals, you know? That's how I kind of interpret it anyway.
That's what we're doing right now.
Hmm. It's too late to turn once you have spurned where you started from to get where you're going.
It's
So
like
if
that.
you're on your way to reaching your goals, you can't turn back,
Yeah.
you know?
It's almost like you're walking down a path and there's a fork in the road and you can only take one path. What
Hmm.
will it be? Pick your poison. And you go down that way and you cannot turn back. You gotta now go down that way.
You're shedding your skin, a path for your kin to follow, bits to swallow. Hope it doesn't make them sick.
It's a path for your kin to follow. It's like you want your children to be aspired to do what you're doing.
Yeah,
Bits to swallow. Hope it doesn't make them sick. The hope it doesn't make them sick part is you do not
you hope you
want
don't
the
fuck up.
you do not want them to go down a bad path.
Yeah, excuse me.
And that's kind of
Keep your
what we
shape
did,
and
and that's kind of what my mom had to do with my niece and nephew. Because my mom did not want them to go down the same fucking road that my fucking sister took.
yeah, keep your shape until they find their way. So hold it together until your children get to where they're going, I guess. That's all I can interpret that as.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too.
All right, fast approaching self-reliance, unbound, will they choose defiance? Because barring self-defeat, they're damned to repeat the same miracle, miracle, miracle.
Um, Fast approaching self-reliance. It's like they're getting older pretty quick, and it's will they
They're
choose?
soon learning to rely on themselves instead of their parents.
Yeah, uh, and unbound, will they choose defiance? It's almost kind of like if they ended up getting involved in some criminal activity and defy like
Or will they just find beliefs that are different to what you believe?
yeah,
They just become different to you.
yeah.
Because barring self-defeat, they're bound to repeat. So
Defeat?
def oh shit, it does say defeat. Oh, repeat. My bad. Yes,
Defeat?
because barring self-defeat, they're damned to repeat.
I think you just told me another word for the Interbank Group dictionary. Defeat.
Picked clean, yet marrow wastes between the bone, too keen to struggle further on their own.
Um,
It's like they're leeching off you.
God knows how many times I did that.
Yeah, they're relying on their parents, I guess, in this situation is what I'm interpreting as. They're
Yeah,
relying on their parents because they don't know how to rely on themselves yet, or if they ever will at all.
yeah, exactly. It took me, I think, about 10 years to, um, have to quit relying on my folks or whatever.
Yeah.
I
And
had to go out and do my own thing, so
fast approaching self-reliance, but now they choose defiance, and barring self-defeat, they're damned to repeat the same miracle, miracle, miracle.
yeah.
Could the miracle be referring to the miracle of birth?
I think so. I actually think that, yeah.
I just want to keep having more kids. I don't fucking know. I don't know shit. But we're just trying to figure this out on our own, you know?
Yeah, we're still trying to do that right now, so
Yeah. And they could only be redeemed by drifting out to sea, far away from the stream that calls out endlessly. They could only be redeemed by drifting out to sea, so far away from the stream that calls out endlessly.
they can only be redeemed by drifting out to sea. Isn't that like
Going into areas you're not comfortable with.
yeah, I was thinking like if you made like a mistake and you could redeem yourself by still drifting out or
Hmm.
trying to keep yourself from drifting out of it, out into that same world kind of thing, you
Yeah.
know.
They can only be redeemed by drifting out to sea, going away from what's normal, what's average.
Yeah.
Far away from what the stream far away from the stream that calls out. And so the stream is like what everyone else is doing, but you're drifting out to sea.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay, so the next song that we got here is called Classic Rock.
Except it's spelled with a W in front of it.
I was expecting them to like make a bunch of references to actual classic rock music. That's why I ended up writing that in my notes, but I did not hear a damn thing referencing it. This was a song I really wanted to like, but because they didn't make a fucking classic rock reference, I can't.
I think the reason it was called because like I'm pretty sure these songs were all originally instrumental songs, and then after they were done with the documentary, they just added lyrics to them and made vocals, you know?
It doesn't matter. It's still fucking misleading, though. At least in my opinion, anyway, it just feels misleading.
Misleading. You'd find the humor in that if you listen to the Deer Hunter more. There's a character in this story called Misleading.
And I just made that reference at the right fucking time, too.
Yep, yep.
Wow.
All right. Light casts the same shapes it's poured a million times before. The dark masks the same spaces I've missed or chosen to ignore. If
Yeah.
shadows were to cease to be, Too quickly I'd assume I'd seen that nothing is the way it seemed, and forms faded in the glow. How could I let this come? How could I let it come to this? Too satisfied by my abyss of illuminating reverie. So the phrase "light casts the same shapes it's formed a million times before" that sounds like you're making music, but it's just repeating what has already been done.
Yeah. The dark masks the same spaces I've missed or chosen to ignore. It's almost like a reference to like you just missed out on something.
Yeah.
Um, how could I let it come to this? It's like you ask yourself, like, why did this happen because of me? Was it my fault, kind of thing? Why did I let it come to this kind of thing? Too satisfied by my abyss. It's like you're too satisfied by your ego of you
Yes,
really
yes,
want
you're
to
very
do something like this. Then all
self-satisfied.
of a sudden, you were too blinded by what you wanted to do to realize that it was doing something else negatively.
Yeah, and then it goes to the chorus. Or oh, should I click my heels to get back home again, or dig
There's
them
no
deep into the
place like
walls,
home.
hmm, or
There's
dig them
no
deep
place
as
like
walls
home.
are caving in. Excuse me. Wait for the dust to rest, then move ahead.
Okay, so now it feels like I'm okay, so I obviously did the there's no place like home thing from Wizard of Oz. It almost feels
Yeah,
like
it's
they
definitely a
combined
reference to
that
that,
with
of
the
course.
wait for the dust to rest like the fucking Dust Bowl and the Depression.
Yeah, the phrase or oh, should I click my heels to get back home again? It's like, should I just start over? You know?
It's too late for me if I wanted to restart.
Hmm. Or dig them deep as walls are caving in. Or as things are going wrong, you just go with it. You just fight against what's happening, you know?
Yeah, I know
Then
what you
move
mean, man.
ahead. Yeah. Oh, how painless to live in vignette. A hollow and shamelessly, excuse me, a hollow and shamelessly deceptive silhouette. Well, nothing burns inside like tiny little lights. I
Yeah.
tell myself to drown the doubt instead.
Um, I really don't know, honestly, man.
These lyrics are fucking tough, aren't they?
They they are what? How what in the fuck? How the fuck can you actually even understand this?
Try reading some of my lyrics sometime. I'll show them to you and you'll be like, what the fuck is that?
I don't know, man. Oh God. Where nothing burns inside like tiny little lights. Is it something like you want to have a burning passion for this, but you really don't?
I really don't fucking know.
God damn it, dear Hunter. At least make it a little easier for us to understand, for God's sake.
I'll show you some of my lyrics later and then you'll understand.
Yeah, I'll do it. We'll just do a YouTube video of just like, hey, Raj, I want you to read this, and I'm just here like, and I just look at you like,
Huh?
all right,
All
let's
right.
continue on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'll never click my heels to get back home again. I'll dig them deep as walls are caving in, and when the dust rests, I'll move ahead.
Oh, I'll never
When
click
things
my
are
heels
going
to
wrong,
get
you're
home
still
again.
pressing forward.
So Judy Garland does not want to go home after all. Okay.
Yeah. No, what I interpreted it as like when things are going wrong, you still are pushing forward, you know. That's how I kind of interpret it anyway.
Hmm.
All right, because what's the point of living anymore if not to see all the things I've never seen before? Become that someone I adore. Oh, such little time, such a little time. I swear I'll try. All
Oh, I
right,
thought
so
it
yeah,
said I swear I'll fly for a moment.
yeah, because what's the point in living anymore if not to see the things I've never seen before? Like, what's the point in living in the same fucking small town? Like, I want to go adventure. I want to see new shit that I've never seen before, you know?
Yeah.
Become that someone I adore. Become what you have dreamed to be.
Yeah,
Oh, such
exactly.
little time, such little time. Lives are short. I swear
Yep.
I'll try. I'm going to push forward and achieve my dreams.
Yep. And I'll get rid of these ads.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay, so the last song on here, and it's obviously probably one of my favorite ones on here. Burritokyo or what?
Burritokyo. It's a combination of the words burrito and Tokyo. Burritokyo.
Do they have they ever even eaten a burrito in Tokyo?
I don't fucking know, but that's what they called it.
Where the fuck do they come up with these? Jesus Christ, man.
You could ask me the same fucking thing. I come up with the weird ass names. I don't know how I fucking come up with them. It's like, hey, let's call this song that.
Oh, so many questions in life, man, that I can never get answers to. Okay, so from what I wrote here is that it sounded like a very somber song, and but it feels like you're having a trip, or it's a song that you could get high to. Now I might have to
Okay.
actually get high to this song. Like I thought it was rather good. I actually liked how it sounded. It almost reminded me of the my favorite song that we talked about in our last album review. So,
Okay. It's been too long since I gazed upon a starlit night and wondered what's beyond. Indulging lofty thoughts that start to spawn a rising hum that rattles my facade undone.
God. A rising hum that rattles my facade. It almost reminds me of, you ever heard of the sky trumpets?
No, I have not. What is that?
It's like it's like a sound phenomenon that was in 2013 there was a sound phenomenon that was apparently being heard from the sky, and it sounded like trumpets being played from heaven.
Huh.
And
That's interesting.
they could never figure out or find out what the source of that sound was, but it was heard in like many areas around the world. Like take a look it up, dude, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's all I can get out of this. Fucking deer hunter, dude. Fuck.
It's all right. So it's been too long since I gazed upon a starlit night and wondered what's beyond. To me, I know that sounds like wonder like what is after this life? Like what happens when I die? That's kind of how I interpret it anyway.
Yeah, I could see that. For me, dude,
Like
it
it's
was
it's saying like what's beyond the stars was like what's beyond life.
for me, dude, like I could see that, but for me, but at the same time, dude, it almost reminds me of like now, like NASA and their astronauts are like, huh, it's been too long since I, gazed upon the stars like up in space kind of thing,
Yeah.
That's also kind of what I'm seeing from that too.
All right. And from unraveled forms of fuzzy scrawls, I've neared the boundless ending. I've neared the boundless feeling I recall. Yet still the beating slows and dulls. When the words I need, I barely hear at all.
Oh my god.
I'll just keep going.
But I want to try and figure this out. I hear the boundless feel I recall. Isn't it like suppressed emotions, or you recall from like a flashback or a memory that happened in the past that caused you for like these feelings and whatnot?
And from I really don't know.
Go right ahead.
I
Continue
know
on.
you're looking for meaning in life, but you just can't find it.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. Far as the moon, but I do find myself reaching out, thin as the thread. Yet I'm led to believe, shit, yet I'm led to witness brilliance come about. So far as the moon, what you're reaching for.
Yeah.
But I do find myself reaching out. Uh, Thin as the thread, you're hanging by a thread, you know. Yet I'm led to witness brilliance come about. Like you're working on your dreams and shit, and you're making
Yeah, that's
brilliant
what I'm
work.
saying. That's what I'm saying. From that to witness brilliance come about, it's like what the overall results of what we're doing
Yeah,
with our goals
yeah,
and all that. So,
yeah. Like with my music, it'd be like I'm making great music. I'm just hanging on by a thread, climbing
yeah.
to my destiny, you know,
Yep.
and grow and grow and grow and grow. You start making stuff, and you just keep on growing and growing as an artist, and your art itself grows and grows.
Dude, that's what I've been doing with all my playlists that I've been doing for my radio shows. I've been actually doing it's actually been improving every single time when I put these together.
Yep.
So,
Right. Fierce, resounding, something unfounded, down the fountain, up from the mountain.
oh my god, fucking poetry, dude. That so why does that not sound like a poem that Jim Morrison could have did for the Doors with his songwriting? Make that into a song?
You got to listen to some of my lyrics. I'm dead serious too. My lyrics are fucking complicated.
Uh, didn't Frank Zappa's stuff was complicated too, wasn't it?
Not his lyrics, the music he wrote. He composed some really complex shit. His lyrics are pretty fucking simple.
What about David Bowie?
Uh, some of his earlier stuff was more simple, but his later works, like starting with his 1995 album Outside, starting from there and going on, got a
Yeah.
lot more complicated, and I really liked that. Especially his 2013 album, The Next Day. I
What
really
about
liked
Black
his
Star?
lyricism in
Wasn't
that
that the
album.
same thing too?
The same goes for Black Star. Black Star, I think, is his best album. Well, was his best album, I should say.
Yeah. I'm still torn about that of what I believe is his magnum opus, honestly. Like I really
I
don't
believe his best
know.
work was Black Star.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to take a look back at his discography one of these days
Yeah.
and I'll get back to you on that. So, okay,
All
so
right.
pretty much we go back to the same course, but they changed the tune a little bit. But go ahead and read it.
Yeah, and it goes far as the moon, but I do find myself reaching out, thin as the thread. Yet I am led to witness brilliance come about and bloom until its light is blinding. So you're you're creating all this brilliant work, you know,
Yeah,
and you bloom until its light is blinding, until it's everywhere, you know.
yeah.
There's still a ways to go before it's bright enough to glow. Remember when you're down, then it will show.
Still a ways to
There's still a
go.
ways to go.
Obviously, it means like even though your brilliance is
You
there, you still have a lot
There's still
more
so
to
much more
do.
to go. Yeah.
Still a lot more to go. So, but Aegis, that's the same for you and me with our stuff that we're doing here, dude.
Yeah.
No, we have a whole lot more that we gotta do if we really want to make it big here.
Yep. That is it.
Yup. Yup, that is pretty much all the music right there, folks. So
All right, so
what's
how would
there
you
to
rate the songs? How
uh,
would you rate the songs? I'd say I'll go from my favorite to my least favorite. I'd say Magic Beans, Four Amigos, Classic Rock, Shlammin' Salmon, and then Burritokyo.
um give me a moment. I think for me, I will say Burritokyo is my number one. Magic Beans is number two. Um, Shlammin Salmon would be number three. And oh fuck. Number four is a classic Wrock, and then number five for Amigos.
Okay.
So what would you rank this EP out of 10?
I'm biased, but I'd give it a 9.
I would say 8.
Fair. Yeah. I'm biased because I'm obsessed with the deer hunter, and I will take whatever scraps they feed me.
Right. But you obviously know your deer hunter way more than I do, so I could see that being fair enough. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it. Thank you all so much for watching this. I wish we could have did a lot more with this, but you gotta remember it's an EP, and I'm looking.
It is
We're
very
looking.
new, so there's not a lot of information out there about it.
Yeah, so we did as best we can, like we did
Yeah.
with our last album review, but I did think this is a really good way to start for EPs and all that. And we will be looking to do more EP reviews soon in the near future. So we are obviously gonna do one more album review, and then we're gonna take a break from that and to explore other just stuff for like topics and whatnot. But the next album that we will discuss to honor the 30-year anniversary of what is deemed the soundtrack for everyone in the 1990s, and I'm of course talking about Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill. So I don't know when we will record that. It'll probably be right after 4th of July weekend, because I'm going on vacation next week, and I'll be back in 2 weeks. Aegis will be back in 2 weeks as well. Meanwhile, we're gonna try and get as much stuff done for other projects that we have planned. Aegis has a couple ideas he wants to do for the Interrobang group channel, and I have a couple ideas for another advertisement that I want to make for my channel, and whatever else comes to my mind, But yeah, thank you all so much for listening to this podcast. Aegis, you got anything you want to say quick?
Got any suggestions for albums or other general videos we should make on this channel or the Interrobang group? Leave a comment.
Yeah.
And if we think it's a good idea, we'll be like, hell yeah. If we don't, we'll be like, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you. Go take it up with someone else. Yeah. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for listening to this podcast. If you want to see more music-related content from me, be sure to subscribe to the Roger Radio Show today. Hey, hit the bell to be notified when I upload. I try to upload like every week, but it just doesn't work out because of other shit that I have. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the Interrobang group. I'm over on that channel as well. We had just recently uploaded our third installment of the Condiment Roulette series that we did. And go check it out. I thought it was pretty good.
It was a fun video to make.
Yep, it was. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, ta-ta for now.
Peace.